Hey guys, welcome to this awesome DVD on hypnosis. We're going to cover everything you need to know to build your own hypnosis show from beginning to end. Absolutely everything you need to go from wherever you are now to having a full hypnosis show. I've been using hypnosis for the last 10 years to make a living alongside magic and mentalism. The advantage of hypnosis is that once you have a good, strong show that you're confident with, you don't really need any props. It's extremely travel friendly and it's a lot of fun. People love hypnosis shows. In this DVD, we're going to cover everything from how to start up right in the beginning. What do you say when you come out on stage? How to actually do the hypnosis part, which is called the induction, and then how to actually structure a hypnosis show. This is what I've learned over years of performing hundreds of shows a year, and I hope you enjoy it, so stick around. I'm going to make this as comprehensive as possible, and yeah, let's start this. So the great advantage that this DVD gives you that I didn't have when I was starting up is that there's somebody who actually does it who's showing you how to do it. You're going to get bits from my show here where you're actually going to see what I do on stage. And that's great. That's going to reduce your learning curve a lot. Once you have this, once you're confident with it, once you've learned the material, you've written your scripts, practice, practice, practice. That's going to help you so much. Go out, get some friends together and practice as much as you can. It took me a long time originally, I'm going to be honest, to be able to do this because I was learning in books and I didn't know what I was doing wrong. You're going to see what you're supposed to be doing in this DVD. Therefore, it's going to make it so much easier for you than it was for me. All you got to do is go out and practice what you learn in this DVD as much as you can. And after a couple of weeks, honestly, this should start working for you really effectively. And I'm going to try to make sure on this DVD that you get everything you need to make sure that happens as quickly and as easily as possible. So before we get into this, guys, before you learn any of this stuff, I want to talk about ethics. And ethics as it applies to two things. First of all, ethics as it applies to hypnotizing people. Second of all, ethics when it comes to taking what you learn in this DVD. So first of all, ethics when it comes to hypnotizing people. You're about to learn something that I consider to be almost a superpower. You have the ability to put people in this trance, in this state where you can get them to do a lot of pretty crazy stuff. Do not misuse this ability, please. Do your shows, be respectful about it. Do material that will engage people and have fun with people without embarrassing people. That's not the goal. And always get somebody's consent before you do this. Never tell somebody like, oh yeah, let me just do some relaxation techniques on you and then hypnotize them and use that to your advantage. It's such a terrible thing ethically, so please use this stuff responsibly. It's kind of like learning pickpocketing, We learn this stuff for entertainment. Please keep that in mind. So the second thing is the ethics of the material you're going to learn on this DVD. In this DVD, you're going to see my exact induction, the one I've been using for the better part of 10 years. You're going to see bits from my show. Now, in the beginning, if you want to use exactly my induction, if you want to use exactly my skits, that's fine. If you want to get comfortable with it and you want to use time-tested things that I've done, that's fine to get you comfortable. But once you have that comfort, once you understand what's happening in people's minds when you're using this hypnosis stuff, for the sake of originality, for the sake of just expanding the art, write your own stuff, write your own induction, tailor it to you, write your own skits and bits, because what I find funny, what I could present isn't necessarily what'll be better for your show. We're all different. With hypnosis, sky's the limit. Like I do something in my show with superheroes. I love superheroes. Maybe you don't. Write something that you connect with. That way your show will be better and we have more original shows out there. Because the last thing I want is to come to one of your shows one day and see a replica of my show up there. There's no reason for that. Let's get creative, guys. So have fun. Learn it as it is in the beginning and then make it your own. Okay, so when we talk about hypnosis, most people make the mistake of thinking that the most important part is the induction, when you put them to sleep. That is false. The induction is about, I would say, 30, tops 40% of the importance. Almost the entire importance, like almost all of it, is the pre-show. Everything you do and say before you bring them up. If by the time the volunteers come up, they believe in you and they feel comfortable up there, 80% of your battle is already won. I would say that pre-show, is like 60% of the importance, like it's the majority of it, but in reality, if you do it right, 80 to 90% of your work is already done. I know that doesn't make sense, but trust me on this. Just fly with me. So in your pre-show, there are 4 elements that you have to pepper into your pre-show. And when I say pre-show, I mean everything from the second the audience is sitting down to when they're on stage and they're going to get hypnotized. This means the introduction, the person who's going to introduce you, what you say when you come out, the way you dress, your promotional material have to enforce these 4 things. I know it looks like there's 3 letters here, ICE, but C actually stands for 2 things. So this is an anagram I came up with myself, ICE it's called, and it's 4 things that if you can have a lot of in your pre-show, meaning everything before they come up on stage, the battle is almost already won. Let's look at what I, C, and E stand for. We'll start with I. Informative. So your pre-show talk, your pre-show speech has to be informative. It has to inform them about what hypnosis is and what hypnosis is not. A lot of people heard myths about hypnosis. Oh, you only get hypnotized if you want to be hypnotized. Oh, you can't do anything under hypnosis that you wouldn't normally do. You have to address these things. You have to educate them. And the reason for this is if you seem informed, you seem like you know what you're doing. In other words, if I took a really good actor and I gave them my pre-show speech and they memorized it and delivered it with confidence, they should be able to hypnotize somebody. When you sound informed, they trust you. If you come out and you're like, so hypnosis is something that was invented, I think, in the 20s or something like that, and I think it's got to do something with your unconscious mind, but I'm not really sure, and you, it's sort of like you talk to someone and then they're going to be like, who is this guy? Why doesn't he know what he's talking about? And you lose their confidence in you, which brings me to C. The first part of C is confidence. Now, that moment is going to come where you're going to do your first show. Do not let your audience ever know that it's your first show. You need to look confident. You've done this a million times before. You're going to do it a million times again. If you're confident and informative, they look at you and they feel comforted. So, these 3 are absolutely huge. Informative, confident, and comforting. I'm going to write comforting because that's what it needs to be. So, look at how that naturally sort of progresses. If you're informed and you're confident, they feel comfortable. And that's what they need to feel. Your ultimate goal is this, comforting. When they come up on that stage to be hypnotized, they need to know 100% sure that you've done this before, you know what you're doing, and you're just such a champ at this. If you're unconfident, if they could see that you're not informed, you're not really sure what you're doing, you're done. Game over. Now, this isn't only in what you say. It's a big part of what you say, but it's also your look. Don't go up on stage looking like a slob. Be well put together. Look confident. Well, you know, it's so important. Like sometimes street magicians have this casual look. That doesn't work for hypnosis. Look good. Look great. Also, when you have the person introducing you to come on stage, or maybe even if it's at a party, and the host is, you know, make sure that the person who's going to introduce you to the group has a few nice things to say about you. I've seen this guy's amazing. If you have any accolades, have you been on television? Have you been in a newspaper? Anything like that. Do you have any accomplishments? Do you have a YouTube video with a lot of views? Even if your accomplishments are in magic, it's okay. Sneak them into hypnosis. I used to do that. When I got started in hypnosis, I had a lot of accomplishments in mentalism, and people would mention that. You know, TV appearances. It doesn't really matter. It comforts them. It lets them know that you are good at what you do. So, from what they're saying about you to what you are saying about yourself, and you're going to see later, I'm going to do my whole pre-show talk, you're going to see little elements in there of me comforting them, of seeming confident, and informing them. It's peppered all over my pre-show talk, which is what you say before you get your volunteers. Third one, extremely important. Entertaining. I don't care how informative and confident you are, if you're boring, they're not going to like you. You got to engage them. They got to be like, this guy's awesome. He knows what he's talking about. He looks so comfortable out there. That's making me comfortable. And he's so funny. I'm excited to do this. So from the second you hit that stage, get that energy up, get some music going, get them excited about what you're going to do. In fact, that could almost be another E, excitement. You know what I mean? So get that vibe going. So here's the thing, you walk out on stage, you welcome them to the show, and then you do what we call the pre-show talk. You're gonna see 2 versions of that. You're gonna see the studio version now of me just reciting it to you, and you're gonna see my actual pre-show talk from a show. Look for these elements in there. You're going to be able to see when I'm being informative, when I'm being confident, and when I'm being entertaining. If you're at a smaller gathering, here's a great way to be entertaining, confident, and informative. Do a nice mentalism trick. Don't know any? Learn some. They're all over the place. Not a magic trick, a nice mentalism trick. Something that lets them know, okay, this guy's got something going on. He understands how I think. That is extremely comforting, and it's also very entertaining. So that could be your lead-in, a really nice mentalism trick before you get into the hypnosis. It also gets you a little more comfortable, starting with something you know. So there it is, guys. The 4 elements of a great pre-show talk. Now we're going to go to my pre-show talk. I'm going to tell you, word for word, exactly what I say before I get the people up on stage. And you're going to be able to see where all these little things come into play. So here is my pre-show talk in studio, word for word. This is what I say when I come out on stage. So I come out, I say hi to the audience. What's up, guys? How you doing? Get that energy up. I do a suggestibility test, which we're going to talk about in the next chapter. And then here's what they hear. Okay, so let me just try to get in, like I'm on stage, there's my audience over here. So we do the suggestibility test. We do a suggestibility test, which you're going to learn about later. And immediately after that, I talk about the unconscious mind, and here's what I say. I say, there are 20 chairs on stage behind me. In a few short moments, I'm going to invite some of you to come join me on stage to try one of the most relaxing things that you've ever experienced. That's comforting and informative, what I just said. I've informed them that this is relaxing, and I'm comforting them. You're going to feel relaxed up here, and a lot of you are going to come up here. But before we do that, there are 3 questions that I want to answer. 3 questions that I hear all the time that I want to get out of the way. First question. If I come on stage, am I going to be passed out? The answer is no. You're not passed out. You're there, you're conscious, you know what's going on, you just don't care. It's as simple as that. The second question I hear all the time is, are you going to make me take off my clothes? The answer is no. I can't make you do anything you don't want to do under hypnosis. Now, if taking off your clothes is something you want to do, that's a different subject altogether. We'll talk about it after the show, but that doesn't happen on my stage. My goal is to have a good time with everybody. I don't want to embarrass anybody. Third question. I get this all the time, and I love hearing this question because this question just makes me feel smart, and I see it coming too. There's always like this little group of people, and they're all scared of me, and one of them builds up the courage to come see me and ask me this question. What happens if I don't wake up? What if I get stuck? If you get stuck, it's a different state, okay? It's not called hypnosis, it's called death. That gets such a great laugh, always. Guys, I've been doing this for 10 years. I've hypnotized thousands of people. Everybody woke up. There isn't a guy stuck as a monkey in the Bahamas because I couldn't wake him up from the time that I was there. Everyone I ever hypnotized is doing just fine right now. So please don't worry about getting stuck. It just doesn't happen. See what I did there? One question I answered, it had some jokes, it was comforting, and it was informative. Now they're like, okay, I can't get stuck, I'm not passed out, my clothes are going to stay on, I'm not going to get embarrassed. So I've informed them about what hypnosis is. They feel comforted. I seem confident with all this stuff, saying things like I've been doing this for 10 years, hypnotized thousands of people, and it's very entertaining. Let's keep going with the pre-show speech. So here I do another suggestibility test. It's the one with the light and heavy arms. So you can refer to that one in the next chapter. So I say, I want to do a test now. So here's how I lead into it. I go, I want to do a test now. I want to see who amongst you have the 3 things that you need in order to be hypnotized. The 3 things that you need to be hypnotized are imagination, creativity, and intelligence. If you have the right mix of those 3 things, you're an excellent candidate for hypnosis. So this is the part where I find my stars in the audience. And so now I do the light and heavy test, which you're going to learn in the next chapter. So let's just assume we did that, the whole light and heavy test. Now I say, open your eyes, take a look around. There are 2 kinds of people in the audience. Those who are like this, oh my God, my arm is flying. And those of you who are like this. Here's my point. If there's even a foot of difference between your 2 arms, you are an excellent candidate for hypnosis, and you should be on this stage. Because if there was a big difference between your arms, you're going to get hypnotized out there in the audience anyways, and I don't want to have to come get you. That's That's just a bingo bango. That's you're informing them that they might fall asleep in the audience. You seem confident that you're gonna get them. It's comforting because it's like you're a great subject, come on up, and it's entertaining because it's like you're gonna fall asleep and I don't wanna have to come get you. So now that we've done the suggestibility test, we're almost ready to get them on stage. Here's just one little bit that you'll see in my pre-show talk where I say the following. Now before you guys come up here, there's a couple of restrictions. First of all, if you've been drinking tonight, please don't come up on stage because chances are you're already hypnotized. That gets a great laugh. Plus it informs them if they've been drinking, don't come up on stage. You go, so I say this way, I go, you're already hypnotized. It doesn't matter what I say, you're still gonna take off your clothes and do a little dance for us. So that gets the mood kind of light, you know? Second of all, if you have any chronic movement associated pains, back pains, muscle pains, joint pains, do not come on stage because there's a lot of movement up here. Informative, confident. Pregnant ladies, if we have any pregnant ladies in the audience, do not come on stage. Once again, there's a lot of movement up here. And last but not least, if you have any anxiety-related issues to the point where you're medicated, do not come on stage. Hypnosis is very relaxing and can often cure anxiety, but the fact of being in front of an audience with lights and stuff, that could trigger an episode, and we don't want that. Again, look how informed you sound here about, and how concerned for them you sound, which is comforting. It sounds like you care for them. You know, if you have movement pains, don't come up here, I don't want you to hurt yourself. That's very comforting and informative. There's a couple of jokes in there. So what a great little bit of sort of restriction, but at the same time, information. And then you go, but if none of that is your case, you want to have a good time with me here today, there was a good difference between your arms when we did that little game, come on up, grab a chair, I'm waiting for you. And now they just rush up there. Now they come in, they're sitting down. You're about to start your induction. Within the induction, there's another part where I speak to the audience, which I guess is technically part of the induction. It still uses ice, but we'll get to that in the induction. So now, you've done your pre-show talk, you've informed them, you've seemed confident, they're comforted, they're entertained, they're excited. I want to add that here, exciting. They're excited, they're entertained, they're ready, they're up there, and now it's time for the induction, which we're going to go in depth after we talk about suggestibility tests. So there it is, guys. Everything you need for a pre-show speech, you're going to see my pre-show speech right now on stage. And look out for these things. Try to make notes in your head of when I'm being informative, when I'm being confident, when I'm being comforting, and when I'm being entertaining. And then write your own pre-show.
Guys, I'm so excited to be here, as I said earlier. Let's start with a game. Listen up, this is very important. I need everybody, even the ones in the back, to hear this. So out of respect, let's try to keep it down. We're gonna play a game. Everybody put your right hand up like this. Everybody do this. Everybody, keep it down so you can hear me. It's very important. Hold up one finger like this. Poke your friends. Okay, stop doing that. That's annoying. Don't do that. Hands up. Make an excellent sign like this. Everybody do this. Everyone do this. Make an excellent sign where your thumb and index are touching, your other three fingers are up. Okay, now listen up, guys. It's very important for this exercise. It's not important to watch what I'm doing. It's important to listen to what I'm saying. So shush. Listen. It's so important to hear what I'm saying. Again, you got to follow what I'm saying. Let's try this. We're all going to start by making clockwise circles like this. Clockwise circles. Everyone. Counterclockwise. Shh, listen up. You got to hear me. Don't talk because you're going to miss what I'm saying. Counterclockwise. Back to clockwise. Back to clockwise. Good. Bring your hand right up to your chin like this. Great. Listen up, guys. Hands up. Clockwise circles again. Clockwise. Counterclockwise. A little bigger, a little faster. Clockwise. A little smaller, a little slower. Listen up. Once again, bring your hands right up to your cheek. Who's on their chin? Okay, settle down. How many of you, with a show of hands, how many of you actually went to the chin? Yeah, most of you. Yeah. Here's the thing, why does that work? I mean, it's so simple. Like I said like 5 times, I said go to your cheek. Like I said, you have to listen to what I'm saying, and I said go to your cheek. Why do most of us go to the chin? There's 2 reasons. First reason is because most of us, ever since we're little, when we follow somebody, we use our eyes, then our ears. This is so deeply embedded in our minds that we don't have a choice. We can't fight it. We use our eyes first, then our ears. The second reason is because I said, once again, bring your hand up to your. It didn't matter what I said, your mind made an assumption. Your unconscious mind assumed that I meant chin, and that's why your hand went there. I just wanted to prove one simple point, guys. Sometimes the unconscious mind makes the decisions, and the conscious mind can't do anything about it. That's all hypnosis is. It's not voodoo, it's not magic. In a few short moments, there are 30 chairs on stage. It will be filled with those of you who are ready to have a good time tonight, relax, but at the same time just feel this really awesome sensation. But before we do that, there are 3 questions I want to answer, 3 questions I want to get out of the way. Because these are questions I hear a lot as a hypnotist, and I just want to cover them right now. First question, I hear this all the time. Am I going to be passed out? The answer is no. You will not be passed out. When you're on stage, you're there, you're conscious, you know what's going on, you just don't care. That's it. Second question. Are you gonna make me take off my clothes? Guys, I promise your clothes will remain at all times in a neat little pile in the corner over there. No. I'm kidding. I can't make you do anything you don't want to do under hypnosis. Now, if taking off your clothes is something you want to do, that's a whole different subject entirely. We'll talk about it after the show. That doesn't have any place on my stage. So don't worry about that. It doesn't happen, guys. My goal is not to embarrass anybody. It's to have a good time with everyone. So do not worry about doing anything that's totally embarrassing. It's just not the goal here. Third question. This is my favorite one. I love this question. I love hearing this question because this question makes me feel good about myself. And I always see it coming. It's always like a little group of people and they're all frightened to talk to me. And then one of them builds up the courage, runs over to me. Excuse me, Mr. Spider. What happens if I don't wake up? What if I get stuck? If you get stuck, it's a different state, okay? It's not called hypnosis, there's a different word for it, it's called death. Don't worry about it. Been a hypnotist for 10 years, I've hypnotized tens of thousands of people, and they all woke up. There isn't a guy running around in the Bahamas like a monkey from the time I was there on tour that I couldn't wake up. It's impossible. If you were to be stuck in hypnosis, you'd be the first reported case in history to be stuck in hypnosis, so I don't want you to worry about that. There are a few restrictions before you come up here. First of all, I know this is rare, but if there's any pregnant ladies in the audience, do not come on stage. It's very important. Second of all, if you have any movement pains, muscular pains, or joint pains, anything associated to movement, do not come on stage. Once again, a lot of movement up here. Don't want that. Third of all, speaking of joints, if you're under the influence of any substances tonight, do not come on stage. Because odds are you're already hypnotized. Don't matter what I say, you're gonna take off your clothes and show us your naked strut anyway, so really doesn't matter, forget it. Finally, if you have anxiety to the point where you've been medicated, don't come on stage. Hypnosis is a very relaxing procedure, but the lights, the stage, the people might trigger something. We don't want that. If that's not the case, and if there was a good difference between your arms, wait. I have a feeling, based on recent evidence, that a lot of you are gonna come up here. If there's more people than there are chairs, it doesn't matter, stand up behind the chairs. Come now, go, let's do this.
Okay, so here is suggestibility tests and convincers, which are kind of the same but also have a little bit of a difference in intent. A suggestibility test is what you do to see who in your audience would be a great subject, and also for them to know who would be a good subject. A convincer is something that you do to convince the audience that you have this ability to get certain results out of people. It's kind of almost the first hypnotic demonstration you're doing. So sometimes it's the same. Like for example, light and heavy arms is both a suggestibility test and a convincer, because you do it and they go, oh my God, I'm convinced. But also it's for you to know, okay, well, this guy's good and that guy's good and she's good and she's good. So we're gonna go through them one at a time. Some of these are a lot easier to do because they depend on psychological but also physiological principles, so they're easier to do, to get results with. So it's easier for you to start with those. And some of them are a little bit harder and depend more on suggestion and less on something that's physical, but are better tests because it allows you to know with more accuracy who the good subjects are. So let's look at these one at a time. Let's start with the finger magnets. That's something that some of you have probably already seen, so let's try that right now. You tell everybody in the audience, so I'm gonna talk about what it is, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna tell you guys what you say, and then I'm gonna tell you why it works and what it's good for. So for finger magnets, you tell everybody in the audience, take both your hands like this, lock all your fingers in like this, including your thumbs. All fingers crossed over like this, including your thumbs, just like that. And you say, take both your index fingers, your pointing fingers, and point them up like this with about an inch apart between them. Look at that space between your two fingers. And now, you're going to feel those two fingers coming closer and closer together. You feel that space between the fingers tightening as those fingers come closer and closer and closer together. Really think of those two fingers as the world's strongest magnets as they come closer and closer together to the point where they're stuck now and they touch. And that's it. And it's as simple as that. That is the finger magnets. Now, why does it work? First of all, if somebody is suggestible, just the idea of them being magnets will very quickly get those fingers together. Second of all, there's a physiological aspect to this. It's very difficult to physically keep your fingers apart like this when all your other fingers are locked. In fact, if I keep talking to you like this and I don't think about it, at some point I'm going to notice that that space is closed. It just happens naturally because it takes quite a bit of strength to keep them apart. So, what you're testing here for is resistance. People this doesn't work on are people who are really like, no, they don't want to. People who very quickly, like, you go like magnet, space, closing, and boom, they're stuck already. You're like, all right, well, he's good. And then there's the people who just naturally and slowly close. These are people who are neither great nor very resistant. But you're looking for the ones that are going to close really quick. This is usually the first test you do. It's fun, it's quick, it's easy, it has a very high success ratio, and then you can go towards another one before you get some subjects up. But it's a great way to start. Okay? A few things to note. First of all, notice how clear my suggestions are. Suggestions always have to be clear. Going back to ice, it makes you look confident. If you're like, like magnets are they stick. So your fingers, magnets, they're going to be like, this guy has no idea what he's doing. So be confident when you speak. Be clear when you speak. Your fingers are like magnets. And now I snap, I say when, and now I'm confident when I speak. Like two magnets. Notice my voice drops. Like two magnets. Those fingers are going to come closer and closer together. I'm very authoritative. Imagine there's two magnets, those fingers coming closer and closer together. The more you look at it, the tighter they squeeze and the closer they come, like two magnets. Don't be scared to repeat things. Coming closer and closer together, tighter now, and now they are stuck. Very clear, very confident. And that is the finger magnets. Let's go to the second one, the arm strength. And for this one, I'm going to demonstrate this for you right now with somebody in studio. Man, how do you get that detail in? You're really good at this.
It's art.
Wow.
It's art, it truly is.
Huh.
Oh.
Gee, yeah. Wow. Oh.
I didn't see you there.
So, yeah, Chris decided to steal my shirt look, so I decided to steal his facial hair look.
Yeah.
Hope it looks good. So, don't do this when you're hypnotizing people. You lose cred for being sane. So let's try this. This is the arm test. So Chris, turn to face me. Put your arms up like this, like in a V shape, but like more like this. Make two fists. Okay, so hold it up, okay? I'm gonna push down on your wrist. I want you to see how, because of the physiology, you're stronger and it's impossible for me to get your arms down. So try to resist, okay? See how strong it is? I can almost like hang off you and do like push-ups. You see that?
Right.
See how the strength can hold it up? Okay, drop your arms. Think of somebody in your life that makes you feel positive. Somebody that you've trusted and you were right in trusting. Somebody that's always had your back. Good, bring your arms back up. Now notice how the body is strong. And notice how if I try to, so resist again, if I try to go pull down, look at that. I could like hang off this. You feel that strength? Notice how strong it is? Good, okay, drop your arms. I don't want you to think this is like me wearing you out. Think of somebody who once deceived you. You're not gonna give me any information on this person, but somebody who you were wrong in trusting. Somebody who deceived you.
Santa Claus.
No. Stop it.
Oh.
You're this for real.
Sorry, I wasn't supposed to
Stop
say
it.
Okay.
You got someone?
Yeah.
Legit, try this legit.
Okay.
You have someone? Okay. Somebody who deceived you, go ahead and put the arms up. Now, you can already see how the body's a little bit weaker. This is to show how thought can influence the body. Check this out. You're thinking of that person? Watch. Really concentrate, okay? Look, hold your arms up. No, up, up. Up is, up. No, Chris, up. Can you do up? Yeah. No, Chris, up. Try it again. Up. Chris, this is up. Try it. No, try strength. But really think of them. Up. No, Chris, come on. Up. You can do it. Stronger.
I'm
Come
trying.
on. Okay, up. Chris.
Right.
And that's it. That's what it is. And just look at the reaction. None of this was scripted.
No, I didn't even know. I was scared, to be honest.
So arm strength is absolutely one of my favorite ones because the physiological reasoning here is a lot less obvious. All you're doing here, because the spot that you're touching on the wrist is the exact same. What's different is the direction in which you're pulling. In the original demonstration, you're pulling downwards. If you pull downwards, they use more of their core strength to resist. If you pull outwards just a little bit, just a tiny little bit, they're gonna fall forward. Because it's almost the equivalent of you trying to push them downward like this, which is impossible, and you pulling outwards. So on the first one, I'm pushing this way. On the second one, I'm pushing this way, like this, just a little bit. It's not that pronounced. It's just a little bit more, and they just will not be able to keep their arms up. So it has that physiological thing. Plus, the suggestion actually makes a huge difference here. So you are adding that suggestion element here. When they think of something positive, they do have more strength. When they think of something negative, they do have less strength. So it is actually a great demonstration. And I use the arm strength one a lot more in intimate settings, like at a party. Like if I'm with just a few people, I'll take one of them and I'll do the arm strength. It's a great convincer. So let's look at the eye lock now. This is one where the psychology is really coming into play. This one relies a lot less on physiological aspects. It does still a little bit, but you're really this is a strong suggestibility test. If this works on someone, you know they're probably a great subject. So here we go with the eye lock. And try it at home. Try it right now, sitting in front of your screen. So here's what you say. I want you to close your eyes. All of you, everybody close your eyes. Everyone close your eyes. And under your closed eyelids, I want you to imagine there's a spot at the top of your head, right at the top of your head, and roll your eyeballs up to look at that spot. Keep your eyes locked on that spot, but at the same time, keep your eyelids closed. Your eyelids are closed and roll your eyeballs upwards. I want you to imagine that between your eyelids, there's the world's strongest super glue or crazy glue. This is the world's strongest super glue, holding your eyelids stuck together. Don't test it yet. Just really focus on that spot on top of your head. But really imagine your eyes are stuck with the world's strongest glue. And I want you to use that imagination, that creativity and that intelligence to really feel that those eyelids are stuck, impossible to open them. And now, as you keep your eyeballs locked on that spot on top of your head with your eyes closed, go ahead and test it. Notice your eyes don't even want to open. Go ahead, test it. Notice that your eyes are stuck. Test it. Go ahead, your eyes are stuck. And now when I snap, just like that, your eyes can just open effortlessly. So that is the eye lock. Some people will be able to open their eyes. Now there's two things happening here. First of all, physiologically speaking, when you close your eyes and you roll your eyes upwards, it makes it very difficult to open your eyelids for some reason. I don't know why. It's just the way it is. But second of all, there's a suggestion here. And there's that confidence and comfort coming back in. You're saying use that imagination, that creativity, and that intelligence. Think about that. Use your intelligence to really imagine those eyes getting stuck. Are you saying that if this doesn't work, they're not intelligent? Maybe, right? So that's what you're trying to get in there. It's kind of a cheat, but it's a good one. So you're really getting them to really use that imagination, to really imagine those eyes stuck together, more and more stuck together, and then they can't open them. And then you say, and now you could just easily open your eyes. That sound gives a clear moment. It also allows them to relax the eyes, and now they can open them. This is a great test. If this works on someone, odds are they're a great subject. Light and heavy arms, probably my favorite suggestibility test. I love this one. I do it in every one of my shows because my presentation with this is so much fun. This one depends almost entirely on psychological. There's almost no physiological aspect here. So when this works on somebody, I know they're a great subject. So when you have a big crowd of people, you could get away with doing an eye lock and a light and heavy, and a hand lock. Things that are are 100% psychological, will not work on everyone, but who it does work on, you know is a great subject. So light and heavy arms, here is me doing light and heavy arms on stage at my show. Enjoy.
Now, before I get the volunteers up here, we're going to do a test. This is different than the first one. The first one was a game, this is a test. I'm going to test to see who amongst you are the best subjects for hypnosis. I want everybody to participate. Don't be like, oh no, I don't want to get hypnotized. It's just a test, okay? I'm not going to sneak attack hypnotize anyone. Chill out. This is for me to know who amongst you have the 3 things you need to be hypnotized. The 3 things that you need the right mix of is imagination, creativity, and intelligence. If you have the right mix of those 3 things, you're an excellent candidate. I didn't say you need a lot of that, so don't look to your friends like, I got this, I'm like a genius. Here's the test, guys. I want everybody to participate. Everybody put both your hands up like this at the height of your shoulders in front of you like this. Both arms up. Both arms up. Shh. Both arms up, palms down, hands about 6 or 7 inches apart. Ladies, if the guys don't know what 6 or 7 inches actually is, please. No, you're laughing. Every time I do this, there's a couple of guys in the audience like, 6 or 7 inches, I can do that. Let's do this, Hypno guy. Your boyfriend's been lying to you. Arms up at the height of your shoulders, palms down 6 or 7 inches apart. Shh. There are 2 things that must be closed and stay closed for this exercise. The first one is the mouth. Please do not say a word, even the slightest, oh my God, or holy shit, can affect the person next to you. So do not say a word, nothing. Shh. You might be tempted to react, but please wait to react, no matter how crazy this is. The second thing is your eyes. Close your eyes. I still hear chatter, guys. Please, out of respect for you and those around you, please do not speak. And keep those eyes closed until we're done. It's going to be tempting to peek, but please keep those eyes firmly closed until we're done. Don't peek, don't cheat, I can see you. Eyes closed, palms up, hands at the height of your shoulders, eyes tightly closed. And I want you all to imagine that on your left hand, I've attached a very light helium balloon. If you don't know what that is, it's the balloons that go up. Really focus on that balloon attached to your left hand. This big balloon, maybe you can see the color, I don't really know. But every time I make this sound, that balloon gets lighter and lighter. This isn't something you do consciously. Keep those eyes closed and really focus. Focus on that balloon floating. Trust your unconscious mind and your imagination to make that left hand lighter and lighter. I want you to imagine that on your right hand, there's a very heavy pile of books. Not just one, but at least 3 or 4 books, big books, heavy books like dictionaries. And every time I make that sound, keeping those eyes closed, imagine those dictionaries getting heavier and heavier, just so heavy every time I make that sound. Left hand gets lighter and lighter, right hand gets heavier and heavier. Really focus on it. This is something you do consciously. Just focus on those books and trust your imagination to make that hand heavier and heavier. Once again, left hand lighter and lighter, all the way up, 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 just floating effortlessly. As the right hand is so tired now that you can rest it on your leg or by your side, because it's just so tired right now. One last time. Left hand floating all the way up, 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 up into the air. Right hand, shh. Right hand super tired by now. Right hand is just gone. Can't even hold it up anymore. All the way up on the left, all the way down on the right. Good, don't move. Open your eyes, look at your arms. Shh. There are 2 kinds of people in this audience. Those of you who are like this, holy shit, my arm is flying! And then those of you who are like this. Here's my point. If there's a foot or more of difference between your arms, you're an excellent candidate for hypnosis. If you look like the gentleman there and there, and a couple of guys down there who look like they have a question for me on one side, and they're sinking into the ground on the other side, you are a marvelous candidate. You will get hypnotized. So might as well come up here because I don't want to have to come get you out there.
So light and heavy arms. As you saw, there's no physiological thing there. One of the arms is going up, one of the arms is going down. Now, a couple of things you want to note is, first of all, how clear I speak and how confident I am when I'm doing this. How I say, how I give them a moment where it's going to happen. Every time I make this sound, every time whatever that sound is, whether it's a snap or a pop into the mic or it's a clap, whatever it is, I do that because I'm holding the mic. I say, every time I make this sound, so I want them to hear that and associate whatever's going to happen to that sound. Notice how clear I am about what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. Notice how comforting I am when I say, don't do this consciously. Use your imagination, your creativity, and your intelligence. Again, suggesting that if you're intelligent, this will work. So yeah, that's everything there is about that. Really just listen to how I'm doing it and really focus on the clarity of the suggestion. And how when this works, I know that the people that it worked on, that's the people I want on stage. Now the hand lock. The hand lock of all the ones that are on this list is the most difficult one. It's the one that will tell you if hand lock works, that person will get hypnotized. That's it. It's as simple as that. Unless something goes terribly wrong, if hand lock works in waking state, the way I do it, the way you're going to see in a minute, you know you have a good subject on your hands, 100%. So here is the hand lock as done in my show.
All of you, take both your hands and lock your fingers in like this. All your fingers, all your thumbs, locked, interlocked, crossing like this. Bring your hand up in front of you like this. Look at your hand. Focus on your hand. Focus on your hand. Don't look at me, don't look elsewhere, don't look anywhere else. Look at your hand, don't look anywhere else. I want you to imagine that between your fingers, between your palms, between every inch of those hands, I've put the strongest crazy glue, or super glue, depends on what you call it, between those hands. Don't test it yet, but you know for a fact that those fingers and hands are stuck together, absolutely stuck together. Don't test it, just really focus on that. In fact, I want you to imagine that both your hands are becoming this one solid ball of metal, like a ball of metal that's welded together. Just one ball of metal, both your hands are impossible to separate. Don't test it, just focus. Both your hands are locking together and turning into one big ball of steel that's welded together. You can't even move any of the fingers, and you know that when you try, your hands will be stuck and impossible to separate. Go ahead and test it. Go ahead and test it. Pull on those arms. Go ahead and test it. You can go back. Thank you. Go pull. You can go back. Thank you. Pull. Go pull. Come on. Get your knees in there. Separate them. They're stuck. You can go back. Thank you. Pull. Come on, guys. You can do this. Pull. Pull. Come on. You can go back. Thank you. Pull. Come on. Put your strength in. Put your knees in there. You got this. Come on. Pull. For God's sake, pull. Come on. Pull. Put everything you've got into it. You can go back. Thank you. Come on, guys. Get your knee in there. Separate those hands. Pull them apart. Come on. You can do this. Pull. Okay, stop, stop, stop. Listen to me. When I stomp my foot on the ground, everything will separate like that, just like that. Everything comes apart, everything comes apart, everything comes apart.
So as you can see, the hand lock is a very amazing demonstration. It's like, what is actually happening right now? Why can't they separate their hands? Notice, again, there's this very clear indication of what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. I speak clearly and I speak confidently. You have to speak clearly and confidently, and don't doubt it. Don't be like, in a second, your hands are going to lock. Like, don't be like, is this going to work? It's going to work. Be confident. Go back to ice. Be confident. You know it's going to work. It's not a question. You've done this 1,000 times before, and it's worked 1,000 times before. And notice how, as I'm doing this, I send the people that it's not working for back to their seats. And I really want to keep the ones that it's working for. This is my last suggestibility test, and I only use it when I have too many volunteers on stage and I have to weed them out, which is quite often. I really want the best ones on stage, and I keep comforting them by saying, if this worked, I know you're going to get hypnotized. So almost the entire battle is won before I start the induction. Finally, a good mentalism trick. If you're doing hypnosis in a small setting, like at a party, or a smaller show where there isn't, hundreds of people, a nice mentalism trick is great because it sort of tells them, it convinces them, it's a great convincer that you have this sort of ability to understand their mind. And to people who believe in, I never say it. I never say I'm a psychic or anything like that. I just say, here's this little demonstration. And it sort of opens up their mind to the fact that you are able to do this. So mentalism tricks are a great convincer. And there you have it, guys. That is the list of suggestibility tests and convincers that I use in my professional work. Go back to my performances of them, whether it's in studio or on stage, and really focus on how clear the suggestion is and how there's a clear indication of when it's going to happen and what's going to happen. So to conclude this segment on suggestibility tests and convincers, let me tell you when and where I use the different individual ones. So we're going to start with the finger magnets. This I personally don't use in my show. I find it too easy. I really want to get to who the best subjects are. But if you're a beginner and you really want to throw that convincer in, it's a great one to do as soon as you come out. It's a great place to do that. As soon as you come out, you get right into it. You do this fun little thing. It gets people engaged. That's where you do this, to the whole audience, to everybody, just to show them the power of the unconscious mind. That's the one you do. Arm strength. This is something that I do in small, intimate settings. Let's say there's a small group of people, I'm at a party or something, they want to see some hypnosis. I'll get a few people up and I'll try the arm strength one on them. That gets the, the ball rolling, and then we go on to doing another suggestibility test, and then the hypnosis. Eye lock. This is something I can do to a whole audience of people to know who the good subjects are, to come up on stage, or in a party you do it to everybody, again, to see who the good subjects are. That one in light and heavy, depending on which one you like more. I love light and heavy arms, I just love it so much. But that's two that you do to the whole audience. And I say this, I go, this isn't hypnosis, so I want everybody to participate. Don't be like, oh no, I don't want to hypnotize. So I say, just everyone do this, okay? And I go, come on, everyone. And you'll see that in the video. These are two that you do to the whole audience to see who the best is to come on stage and volunteer. So that when you say, if you haven't been drinking, you don't have any chronic movement pains, you're not pregnant or have anxiety, if the hands worked on you really well, come on up. And the hand lock is what I do when I invite people on stage and I have 20 chairs, but more people show up, like 30 people, 40 people show up. I have them stand up, sit down, whatever. I do the hand lock. And I say, if this works, I know hypnosis will work on you. It's the strongest test. So we do that, and whoever could separate their hands is sent back to the audience, and now I know that I have 20 of the best on stage that are going to get hypnotized, and I know it's going to be a slam and show. So that's how I use each of these suggestibility tests. Or mentalism trick. If, again, you're in a party, I wouldn't do this on stage. On stage, I just do the light and heavy arms, and there's a quick game in the beginning that I do that's not one of these, but that's part of my intro. But mentalism tricks, I would do like in a party, just to get people to understand that I'm awesome at what I do. So welcome to the induction portion of this DVD. So the induction, I guess, is the hypnosis. That's what it is. It's like if you strip out all other things, this is the process that's going to make people hypnotized. So I guess it's interchangeable. Hypnosis, induction. This is the hypnotic induction. I just confused myself. Here are the elements of a good induction. So I'm going to talk about each of them. I'm going to say what it is. And then after that, you're going to see my actual induction on stage. You'll be able to see where each of these fits in. The important thing to remember about an induction is, if you can look at a really good subject, if you did your pre-show really well, and you found a great subject, and they're comforted, and they're relaxed, and they're entertained, and they're educated, and you can look at them and just say the word, relax, 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 over and over again, technically, that could be a good induction. These elements just make it so much better. So think of like, relax deeper and deeper as your basis, and this is everything you're building on top of that to make this killer induction, which, like I said in the beginning, you can use mine as it is, but then, play around with these concepts and find your own way of doing it. Let's start with this, the top one. I wrote still ice. There's a reason for that. In your induction, you still have to remember that you have to be entertaining, comforting, confident, and informative. So within the induction, there are still these little lines that still teach them about hypnosis. Things like, they actually found that people with a higher intelligence have the concentration it takes to get hypnotized. That is both comforting and informative. The most important one is C. Informative and entertaining, especially entertaining, takes the back seat a little bit, and comforting and confident really take the lead. So keep that in mind. C is very important. So remember that. Ice is still very important in your induction. Especially in my induction, there's a little 30 seconds where I talk to the audience. I'm still doing ice there, mainly. Second thing, breathing. So it's no secret that in meditation and yoga, they take deep breaths. There's a reason for that. The deeper you breathe naturally does relax you, which is why I begin with deep breaths in my induction, as you will see in the studio induction and in the on-stage induction. So just encouraging them to breathe deeper can relax the whole body naturally in and of itself. Also, throughout the induction, there's many points where I say, with every breath you take, with every sound you hear, blah, blah, but with every breath you take, with every deep breath you take, with every breath in and out. So there's a lot of times I remind them to breathe deep. Countdowns. I'm going to count down now from 3 to 1. And with every number that I descend, every number is going to double the state of body relaxation that you are in. 3, blah, 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 blah. 2, blah, blah. Countdowns help people relax. I'm going to count from 3 to 1. I'm going to count from 5 to 1. I'm going to count from 7 to 1. 7, 6, all the way down, relaxing deeper. Now 5 to 4. So these countdowns just allow people to have a pace to their relaxation. Countdowns are very important. Fractionate. What does fractionate mean? Remember it and remember it well. Fractionate means eyes open, eyes closed, and you go deeper. Fractionating means deepening the state through opening their eyes and putting them back into sleep. So you'll notice right at the end of my induction, once in my induction, I have them open their eyes, we do some visualization, and then I relax them, which should be here. I don't know why it's not. Visualization, that's extremely important. So at some point I have them open their eyes and then relax, 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 and I have them close their eyes again. That's extremely important, fractionating. And then at the end I fractionate 3 times. I say, you're going to sit up in your chair, take a deep breath of air in, and sleep. You don't have to open their eyes each time, but fractionating means to get them up and deeper in, up and deeper in. Very important. It deepens the state.
Only at the count of 3 now, all of you sitting up, eyes closed. 1, 2, 3, sit up with your eyes closed, take a deep breath of air in, and sleep all the way down. Let it all go into your chair, give you go better you feel. Stay in your chair, mind your head. Let's try it again. 1, 2, 3, sit up in your chair, take a deep breath of air in, and sleep all the way down 1,000 times deeper into your chair. Yes, 1,000 times deeper. Mind your head. She looks like she's gonna knock herself out right now. Third time, 1, 2, 3, sit up in your chair, take a deep breath, and sleep all the way down. Sleep all the way. Yes.
Visualization. Having them visualize themselves on a beach. Having them visualize themselves in the back seat of a car. Anything that's relaxing is great. I use in my induction, as you'll see, visualizing themselves floating in a cloud. What a relaxing sensation. A lot of hypnotists use staircases. Imagine yourself top of a staircase and they add the countdown into the staircase. I'm not a huge fan of that because some people are scared of very tall staircases and I don't want them to think of anything that frightens them. So maybe not. I mean, you could try it. If it works for you, go ahead and use that. Progressive relaxation. That is, again, you'll see in my induction when I go, move that relaxation from the top of your head, down your shoulders, through your arms, very tips of your fingers, down your body, through your legs, the very tips of your toes. So I progress the relaxation through the body. Very effective tool. Weasel sentences. These are amazing. I love weasel sentences so much because they confuse the mind. What is a weasel sentence? A weasel sentence is when you find a homonym, which means 2 words that sound the same but have different meanings. And you use one of those words to end a sentence and use the other one to start a sentence. That confuses the mind so much but helps you in relaxing them. You don't want to use too much confusion, but confusion in the right places can really get the mind in a very relaxed state. So I have 3 examples here that I use a lot. The second one and the third one are in my induction, you'll be able to see them. The first one I sometimes throw in there, and here's what they are. Here and here. So the first here, H-E-A-R, is hear like hearing. And the second one here is like here, where we are right now. So look at this sentence. You allow yourself to relax with every sound you hear, and now relaxing deeper than ever before. See what I did there? So I used here just once, but I used it to end one sentence in the first sense, and then start the second sentence in the second sense. The sentences are technically with every sound you hear, and then here and now relaxing. But look at the way that blend just sort of sends the mind into whoa, oh. So again, relaxing the body with every sound you hear, and now allowing your mind to relax as well. So I did it, that was 2 different sentences, but you get the point. I'm using that one word in both senses. So here, days and days. So the first one is days like 24 hours, and the second one is days like in a days. And I use this one in my induction like this. Feeling more relaxed now than you have in years, months, or even days, and confused, and push your mind to really feel that relaxation. So I use days in both senses. And finally, my favorite one, past and past. So past, P-A-S-T, like the past, like what has already happened, and past, P-A-S-S-E-D, like the things that I've already passed. So here's why I use that. Notice how good it feels to leave all your troubles far, far in the past, the point of no return now, feeling so relaxed. So see how I used it to finish the one sentence, like leaving all your troubles in the past, and then I said the point of no return, past the point of no return now, just feeling so relaxed. I love that one, such a great line. So weasel sentences again are using words in both senses, but just saying it once. So it really confuses the mind, and it sort of gets them to lose all sense of logic, and it just goes into the relaxation and the emotion of what they feel at that moment. Love the weasel sentences. Weasel countdown. This is something I came up with. It is a countdown that uses weasel words. So what we're doing is, in the case of 3 and 1, I'm not really using the weasel. I kind of am, but not really, because it still means 3 and it still means 1, but I'm changing the context. But in the case of number 2, I'm using it as a weasel word. So let me show you what I mean. Here's the weasel countdown. I'm going to count down from 3 to 1. With every number I descend, I want you to double the state of body relaxation that you are in. 3 times deeper now than ever before. Going to a place